Let's get this show on the road. It's been an interesting and long week today. It's been this week, not today, but this week has been a crazy, crazy week. I want to talk about some of the stuff I liked at NAB. I want to talk about some of the stuff you missed at NAB. And I want to talk about why NAB is important, why you should care about it. Because it tells you a few things about the industry for those who had a chance to go. It tells you a lot about the industry. So if you didn't get a chance to go to NAB, and for those who don't know, NAB is a big conference that they have out in Vegas, the National Association of Broadcasters. It is where all the camera companies unveil their new cameras, and a lot of companies unveil new technology. And if you never been, we want to talk about it because if you are in this industry, you need to be paying attention to what happens there and how it predicts the future of this industry, or at least the state of this industry. But first, you know what we got to do. We got to roll these graphics, and we got to make sure we go straight into that so we can get into this. Let's do it.
You're listening to Content and Cash, a FlashFilm Academy podcast. If you want to learn how to take pretty pictures, this is not the place. But if you're ready to make a living by learning the business behind the camera, buckle up, because it's time to turn passion into profit with your host, Ty Turner.
What's good? Let's get right into it. Let's talk about a few things. Because if you're in this industry, there are some things you need to be conscious of. And you always want to be conscious of where things are going, right? Some things are trendy, some things are not, but you always want to be conscious of where the industry is going. And NAB is a good place to go to kind of get your hands on all the gear these guys on YouTube pushing you. And you get to see all of the gear that's out, and you get to see what companies are spending for this gear. And that's one of the things I really wanted to talk about at NAB, is because when you walk around there and you start asking for prices and you want to know what this costs and what that costs, you may be blown away at some of these prices. I had a guy who was showing me a mechanical arm, and the mechanical arm was $55,000. He said, it's the cheapest you can get it. You need to understand the money that's in this industry. You got to get it. Like, if you don't, walking around NAB helps you understand the amount of money in this industry. And it also teaches you that you are grossly undervalued, and you've grossly undervalued yourself. And if you go and you're around other people in the industry, then you'll realize what companies are spending for content. You'll realize that you need to be charging a lot more, and you need to be working hard to present your brand so that you can charge a lot more, because there are plenty of companies that are doing 7-8 figures a year that started as a one-man band like yourself. There's a lot of companies out there that started just like you started, and now they're 7-8 figures a month easily, if not that a year. So getting the opportunity to see so many manufacturers who support this industry shows you that. It shows you that there's tons of money out here. You just have to put yourself in a position to get it. By not understanding the business, you are literally locked inside of a grocery store starving to death. If you have the skill set to create content and you are not making money in this industry, it's on you. It's because you're missing it, because every business need what you have to offer. Real quick, this video, of course, is brought to you by our Capture and Convert kit. That's all loud and stuff, whatever. You can get that for 3 easy payments of free $99 over at FlashFilmAcademy.com. And in the future, it will be FlashFilm.Academy. That's going to be dope. Anyway, go check that out if you want to, check out our 5 free courses and 2 free ebooks that'll get you started. We're the only place that's going to help you make money before you purchase the membership. So important that you know that. So, I want to kind of punch you in the throat by understanding like where you are in the industry. And a lot of people don't realize where they are in the industry. They think that it's saturated. There's too many people doing it. Nobody's spending money. Nobody will hire me. I can't do this full time. And then you go to NAB and you realize I'm missing the boat, because there are billion-dollar companies, multiple billion-dollar companies that are there selling their product and telling you about their tech and finding ways of making hard things simple, finding ways of making 4-camera streaming setups something you can run off your phone, finding ways to show you how to get shots that you've never been able to get shots before with equipment that's affordable. Not just, you don't have to just get it through a rental house, but they're offering new technology at lower prices. Two things I like to watch over the past 3 NABs was the mechanical arm, which I'm sure you've seen the mechanical arm with the camera. They do all these cool shots. Looking at how those prices have come down from 500,000 to 50,000 in about 3 years. And number 2 is I'm looking at LED walls. I'm looking at how prices of LED walls have come down from being, 20,000 a panel to 1,200 a panel in just 3 years. So these are things that I'm watching because as soon as they get into a range where I feel comfortable, I want to jump on it. I want to have an LED wall. I want to have the ability to rent it out and do things with it. And it'll be where I need it in probably like the next 2 years. So just watching the technology develop, where the Unreal Engine is getting a lot easier to use. And there's a lot of companies that are offering the pairing of an LED wall with the Unreal Engine kind of together, and that price is dropping. So I kind of want to jump on that when the time is right. But going to an event like this allows me to see what's available. And if you've never been to NAB is huge. It's a 4-day event. You're still not going to see everything. So don't even think about it. You're not going to see everything. It's too much stuff. NAB is too huge. So your feet going to be hurting. You're just not going to get a chance to see everything. So keep that in mind when you go to NAB, because there's that much stuff in our industry. And I feel like a lot of us who are just getting into this industry don't take the time to realize how big this industry is. So, there's a good question that popped up from William that popped up. What would be my first steps if I was to start right now? If I didn't know anything, would be to learn the business. That would be my first step. And that's not a gimme answer. I don't want you, that's not an answer that's an answer that I would give anybody, and not just if you're a follower of the channel or whatever. I'm gonna tell you why. How do you know what gear to buy if you don't know who you're servicing? Right? If I'm doing product shots, I need macro lenses. If I'm doing story videos, I need cinema glass. Like, how do I know what to buy if I don't know who my target audience is? So business should always be first, because once I determine who my target audience is and what I want to provide for them, then I know what camera is best for that, what lens is best for that, what company name is best for that. So I always start with business. Brandy say it's been 3 years. She still haven't seen everything. Brandy says she's been to NAB 3 years and haven't seen. You have to have a plan. You just have to have a plan. So NAB is huge. It's every April, usually the 2nd or 3rd weekend in April. It usually land on or around my birthday. I had a chance to go this year and hang out with members from FlashFilm Academy, my gold members. It is usually the best week of the year for me because I get to turn up with my people. So big shout out to all my gold members that showed up for NAB. We were probably about 20, maybe 30 deep. And we had a blast. We had a good time all week long. We're still recovering from it. And just had a good time with all my family. And it's always good to see people that we usually connect via Zoom or connect on the app. It's good to see how that chemistry works in real life. And I often tell other gold members of this their first time, like, yo, it's weird because it's like going to a family reunion for the first time. It's like you back for the first time. Like, people, but you don't realize how cool you are with them in real life. So it's dope to get a chance to hang out with all these people. In our community, we believe iron sharpens iron. It's good to have a group of content creators that are around the world who can say, yeah, I'm doing this and this works, or I'm not. I use that software that you're talking about, but this is the problems I ran into, or yeah, I bought that lens, but this is what I loved about it and this is what I didn't like about it, or hey, this is where you can get it for a cheap price. as compared to what you were about to pay for it. So it's real good that you have a relationship with a group of content creators, and FlashFilm Academy offers that among other things. Because there's sometimes you need help, right? Sometimes you get a job that's big that land on your desk. You need 10 shooters. Well, where do you find 10 shooters? Well, if I'm a part of a community, I can go in there and say, hey guys, who's in this area? I need all hands on deck. I need some help. So it's good to have that group of friends that can do it. I'm getting some good people say highly recommend it to anybody to go and experience it for themselves. NAB is a must. If you are a camera guy or a camera girl, if you're into content and into the gear, NAB is a must. Because you get to go there, you get to play with stuff, you get to see stuff, you get to talk to people, you get to ask questions. You can literally sit down and go through DaVinci Resolve with a Blackmagic expert over your shoulder, walking you through everything. You get to literally film with these cameras that are 20, 30,000. You get to literally see every piece of lens that Canon offers and put it on your camera body and take some pictures. You get to do all of that. And I think that it's something that you need to experience before you make big purchases. Before you go out and you buy all this stuff, you need to have the ability to touch it, play with it, and work with it. And you need to have a rep that's there from that company to answer questions you may have. Don't get me wrong. Every time I go to New York, I'm at B&H or Adorama, and I love it. It's a playground. But NAB, if you've ever been in the B&H in New York, you know it's overwhelming. Like, it's so much stuff. Overwhelming in a good way, because you get to see everything and sit it next to everything, and NAB is like that times 100. And the good thing about NAB is there's a lot of companies you never heard of that offer what you're looking for, a lot of the times at a lower price than what you think. You get to see some of the camera manufacturers you may never heard of, like the Kinefinities or the Z-Cams, who are now bigger names, but they started at NAB in a small little booth, and you get to watch those companies grow. And it's great to build relationships with those companies, to ask questions, to see them compare their product against the bigger guys. So it's always good to go there and just it's just a different experience in the industry. It's an experience that every content creator needs to experience before you go spend $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 on a camera body. So every year I go. This year I had a chance to talk to a lot of different people, but some of my favorite was Blackmagic, and just what they're doing with the new Pixel camera and their new Ursa. And I like both. I think they were listening to people when people love the Pocket 6K and Pocket 4K. They just didn't like the form factor. I think that it is the perfect form factor. I think you can't really get any better than that. I mean, I don't know. I love the Komodo size. It's a little bit bigger than the Komodo with a much better screen. And it has some great features. So if I was in the market for one, I would definitely buy one. It's not even close. If I had the 6K Cine, would I upgrade? Probably not, unless I can get, a majority of the price that I paid for it. Unless I can flip it and get majority of the price, then I probably wouldn't. But because it's the same internals. So, I mean, but other than that, I think it's dope. I think it's dope. Their new Ursa is ridiculous. I've been waiting for Blackmagic to release something that wasn't a good camera for the price. You know what I mean? I was waiting for them to release something that's just go for it. Like, what is the best of the best? And it still is a good camera for the price, even though it's, gonna be it's gonna be a flagship model for a lot of people at the price point of $14,500. It's still cheaper than a majority of the Reds that you purchase in all of the Alexas. So, dynamic range is good. It's a good camera. There's a lot of, there's more videos coming out. If you haven't had a chance to check out the video I released with Nikon, interviewing them about their purchase of Red and just trying to understand what made them do it. Is it just about the raw? Like, what made them purchase Red? What plans do they have? I have that video I released. I released a video on both Blackmagic cameras, as well as the Insta360 X4, which is the new 4K 360 camera, which is which is dope. I'm a big fan of 360 cameras. I've owned 2 of the GoPros, probably 2 of the Instas. Probably I got 3 because I got the one to go on the drone. So I got 3 on the Instas, and I'll probably pick this one up as well. I like 360 cameras, and I felt like Insta 360 has better software than all the other companies. It's easier to use. It's easier to walk through, and I feel like if I'm gonna marry one of them, I'm gonna marry Insta 360 just because of the software is much better than what I've experienced on GoPro and other places. I had a 4K Fly or whatever it's called. I had a few other ones, but I like the Insta. I like their software, and it's been my go-to 360 camera for the past few years. So the X4 is definitely on my list, and I had a chance to really just really meet some companies that I really wouldn't have developed a relationship with. I got a company that sent me out some wireless cameras that I'm testing for live stream. I'm working on a review for that. And I got a lot coming with the Flash 5 series because I know a lot of people like the Flash 5 series. So I got a lot of stuff coming. Oops, that's weird. A lot of stuff coming with that. So we're going to get ready to definitely come out with more video just around how the gear can help you make money. Reviewing the gear is cool, but is it something you should purchase that will help you make money in your business? Or is it just a shiny new toy that you want? And we're going to kind of distinguish the two. Plus, more people search for gear than how to grow business. So it helps bring in more people as well, so that they can understand the business side of things. So that's that. Also, we just launched a new price for our FlashFilm Academy. Launched it last Monday. You can check that out at flashfilmacademy.com. New low price. May want to jump on that. I'll just say that. Or you can download the app and go for it. There you go. So, NAB is huge. Meeting with the gold members was a great time. A lot of new technology, a lot of new tech, a lot of new things that I really like at NAB. And a lot of companies that are starting to bring the price down on a few things that I think is important. I think we need to pay attention to things that start off really expensive, that lower in price over time and become more affordable. One of the things that I talked about was the gimbals. I don't know if you remember the first electronic gimbals. I think it was by Movi or somebody like that. That thing was $50,000 when it first came out. Now you can buy a gimbal for $200 for your cell phone, like $100 for your cell phone. Like, just think about that. That technology was $50,000, and it was just unheard of. And just 5-10 years later, it's much cheaper. Let me see. William asked a good question. He said, outside of photography, what people do you consider listening to for motivational business, for inspiration? Outside, like, there's a list of business books that we like to read, but I don't see, I'm different. I don't listen to a lot of motivational stuff. That's just me. I feel like, I don't look around your house, look at your car, look at what you got going on. That's enough motivation for me to get my ass up and grind. As long as being in Dallas, you can pull to a light and look over and see a car, a Bentley, a Lamborghini, or whatever. You can see something nice. And my motivation is, I'm not mad at them, but I should be there, right? So that's my motivation. Besides myself for business, I'm trying to think who else you can listen to consistently. I like I said, I'm more of an audiobook kind of guy. I'm more of if you go into the Thai list or list.flashfilmacademy.com, there's a list of business books I've read, or say, these are good books, and some that's not there, but that's usually where I get my motivation from. It's just understanding the business. I don't do a lot, like I said, I don't do a lot of motivational speakers. That's just me. I'm motivated by life. I'm motivated by what others are doing with their camera and what others are, other businesses. So that's just a weird little quirk about me, I guess. And I've learned that I've read motivational books in the beginning, and I've just learned that they can get you hype, but they don't tell you anything, right? They motivate you, but they don't teach you. I have the will. I just need to develop the skill. And I feel like the will, either you got it or you don't. It's hard to talk somebody into being great. in my opinion. Either you got it or you don't. Either you want it or you don't. You know what I'm saying? And if you want it and you anxious and you running around, all I need is for somebody to teach me how to get it. And that's it. So that's just me personally. I don't listen to a lot of people for motivational purposes. And then the weird thing about what we do is there's not a lot of content creators who have the experience to talk about how to make it in this industry with their camera. There are people who talk a lot about how to be in the filmmaking industry, right? There's a lot of people who talk about how to make movies and how to build your portfolio and how to film perfect interviews. But there isn't really, and this is where FlashFilm Academy came from. There isn't really a place that laid out what needs to take place for me to go from B to C to B to B. There isn't any place that laid out what information do I need to do this full time on my own. There isn't places that really lay that information out. Most places laid out information about working for somebody, landing a job with your camera, as well as how to get 1 or 2 gigs, or how to go the let me shoot for you for free route in hopes that you hire me. Let me build, like they tell you how to go build a portfolio for free, and that's it. They don't tell you anything else. They tell you to go sweet talk somebody to build a portfolio, and then you have this portfolio on your Instagram, and they never go further than that because they really don't do this for a living. They have day jobs, and I respect that. But I would never tell you to go build a portfolio for free just so you can have a portfolio in hopes that you would go chase clients. I would never tell you to chase clients. I tell you to be where they look. That comes from experience. That don't come from regurgitating what I've heard to answer business questions. And a lot of, don't get me wrong, a lot of YouTubers who don't make 100% of their income through their lens, a lot of those YouTubers regurgitate what they hear and just try to make it sound cool. Yeah, go build your portfolio and just, go knock on some doors. That ain't it. I would be setting you up for failure if I told you to do that, because it's not realistic in 2024. Like I wouldn't tell you to sell prints in 2024. Are there people who sell prints? Absolutely. But I would never tell you to go find an event in your area, set up a booth and sell prints of horses. I would never tell you to do that. That's hobby. That's hobbyish. That's not a business. That's hobbyish. And if you want to do this for a living and you want to pay your bills and live comfortably, my goal is to point you in a direction where there's clientele that allow you to do that. And that's B2B. So my goal is to help you present yourself as a business, to work with businesses so that you can get business checks. I'm not, I don't want you to get hobby checks. I want you to get business checks, because business checks allow you to pay your bills, pay the people that work for you, add money to the business savings account, and buy the gear and tools your business needs to survive, as well as marketing and things like that. That big check gonna do a whole lot more than me saying, yeah, I'm gonna give you $40 an hour to come film this. So understanding the difference and what the different clients look like is worth a whole lot more money to content creators who want to do this full time, if that makes sense. Top Notch Music says, let me see, a great comment. It says, your class really opened my eyes. I thoroughly enjoyed learning from you, but it made me realize that I'm not quite ready to take on the role of a business owner just yet. Thanks. Absolutely. And the goal is to, in the beginning of the classes, the goal is to help you identify if you're ready to be a business owner or a freelancer, just where you are in life, because it could save you a lot of money. Like everybody running out buying LLCs and they getting EIN numbers and they running out buying all this stuff because these guys are telling them to, and they don't realize, you got to pay taxes quarterly. Are you ready for that? Have you thought about that? Like, you need to know that you got to go get a mailing address. Are you ready to pay for that? You got to go get phone services. Are you ready to pay for that? If you're not, you may want to hold off on that because you're going to accrue debt and you're not making any income. So let's lay out the game plan so that you can start working on understanding, you don't want to pay for all of this stuff and you don't know what direction we're going into. It's kind of like spending money on ad revenue when we haven't sat and thought about who is our ideal client. Well, who are we advertising to? Ladies, men, business owners, like who are we spending money advertising to if we don't know who's going to buy our product? You can't just say everybody. People think marketing is just everybody, a billboard and everybody riding by as a client. It don't work like that. So to grow our brand, we need to understand who our audience is, who buys what we want to sell. We need to first identify what we want to sell. Who buy it? Who care? Who value it? Who need it? You got to know that. Then we need to make sure our life is in order to make sure we can provide that at a level that is worth money. You may not have the ability to put 30 hours into your business. So we need to sell something that only requires 10 hours of work a week. So by understanding this, it helps you be more successful in business. And I think those without the experience can't teach that. People who've never done it full time can't say, this is what you're going to go through at home as you start this business. So make sure you have this in order. People who regurgitate the talking points, skip over that because they don't have the experience of growing a business. And speaking from personal experience, I know what it's like to not have a partner that supports your dream. I know what it's like to have a partner that supports your dream. I know what it's like to have to choose between your dreams and your partner. Like, that's real. Like, you're going to have to go through that because not everybody see what you see until it started making money. And we got to talk about that before we talk about LLCs and stuff. And I think that anybody who has really been through that can speak to that. Whereas a lot of people have not. They're just regurgitating the fact that you need a portfolio and you need to have pretty pictures and then you need to go chase clients, and it just don't work that way. Plumbers don't chase you. A plumber has never knocked on your door. They've never knocked on your door, but they are everywhere you look. So we talk about that a lot in module 1, right? The foundation. We talk about, where you are in life before you run out here and accrue this debt, thinking just because I got an LLC, I'm going to make money. Just because I got an EIN, I'm going to make money. Just because I got a phone service, I'm going to make money. Just because I got a mailbox, I'm going to make money. You have to go, I'm not going to say you have to go in debt, but you need to understand that there are things that you need to have in place before that faucet of money start opening. So, those are things you got to realize. Creighton says that he had a 4-man crew at one of my events on Sunday. And we all made money. Absolutely. So, let's see. Are you available for speaking engagements? Reach out to me on Instagram. We can definitely work that out. I've done a few. I've done a few speaking engagements. In fact, I got one coming up dealing with food photography and AI coming up next month. But we'll talk about that later. We can get them big shots out later because it's an event that I did a few years ago that I really, really enjoyed, helping food photographers understand the importance of AI and just the same kind of business we talk here. Their client base is a little different. So yeah. But there are things in business that a mentor will help you understand that the average person usually on YouTube don't take the time to discuss. They skip over to the juicy stuff, and the juicy stuff is making money, right? The juicy stuff is getting clients. They don't tell you about the 48 things you need to do to even get the attention of the client. Big money needs to feel comfortable spending big money with you. Big money can't look at a person with a camera and say, I'm gonna spend $50,000. It just don't work that way. Just like you wouldn't buy a car from a guy that don't have a lot, that's standing in the middle of meeting you at, Pizza Hut to sell you a car. You're not going to spend $60,000 for that transaction. You're not going to spend $60,000 for a car transaction. So why do you think somebody will spend $10,000 for a camera transaction? Why does this guy keep trying to join my damn? So these are things that you need to, that's right, Joni with the bike shop. Yep. She's going to be there. So there is levels to this thing. You're absolutely right. There are levels, and you need to understand these levels before you move forward. Because if you want to get a big check, you got to look like money. Come on, you know that. You got to look like money to make money. And the analogies I like to use is think about restaurants. Think about restaurants, right? You can't go into a boring, bland restaurant and think the food is going to be good. If it's an Italian restaurant, they need to have pictures of Italy and wine everywhere. If it's a Mexican restaurant, I need sombreros on the wall. I need items that make me feel like I'm in Mexico. I need the look and feel of a restaurant. It just makes you think the food is going to be better. You can't be a sports bar with only one TV. You need to have 50 of them and sports memorabilia on the wall. There are things that need to take place to trick your mind into feeling comfortable spending a certain amount of money in certain places. And if you think this is not true, go find the most expensive car dealership in your area. Go walk in a Lamborghini dealership and then go walk in a Ford or a Kia dealership. Lamborghini dealership, these guys are in suits. It's quiet. It's peaceful. They're not running up on you. They're giving you Fiji waters. You go walk in a Ford dealership. They're in a faded polo shirt, running up on you in the parking lot, giving you a great value mini bottle of water. It's a night and day difference. And we're talking about even the faded shirt guy with the great value water. He's still selling you a $60,000 car. So you have to understand as a business owner, and again, something we talked about with the gold members, you're not used to buying from you. How can you sell a $10,000 video when you've never bought a $10,000 video? You've never been in a position to understand what has to happen in a person's mind to spend $10,000 on a video. You personally wouldn't spend $10,000 on a video. Let's be real. You wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? It could be because you know how to do it, but even if that's the case, you've never been in the shoes of a person who needs to spend $10,000 on a video. So why are you guessing at what they want? Why are you guessing at what you think they want? You don't know it. You think you know it, but you don't know it. You have no idea. The goal is to find out what they want and build your brand around that. And if you're not doing that, you're working backwards. Because nobody in your family can give you advice on what it's like to spend $10,000 on a video. Don't matter how your logo look, no matter how your colors look, no matter how your website look. If it's not the type of person that spends $10,000 on video, it don't matter. You need to build a brand that appeals to people who spend $10,000 on videos. And you need to do that through your relationships with these people. That's what we talk about big time here. We tell you how to get that information because it's different for everybody. But we teach you how to get that information. So important that you realize, who am I building this for? Now, where can I go to get that information? Stop getting information from internet gurus that's trying to give you a one size fit all that sounds more right than it is right because their job is to sell you. If I make it sound right and you believe it, you'll buy it. A lot of people get my course and they realize the first 6 chapters is about you and looking at what you currently have so you can know what your capabilities are. It's about your foundation. It's about understanding, am I in the right place in life to even try this? So definitely. William asks, what type of photography videos were you doing before your business now? Give me a little more context on that. Do you mean what type of, I was in the military as a combat photographer, videographer. From there, I went to TGI Fridays, where we were doing a lot of training content. That's where I really realized, I'll tell you this, which is weird, but I'll just tell you just peace of my mind. In the military, being in a psychological unit, you realize the power of content for warfare, which is huge. A lot of people never think about the power of video and photo to win wars. Just chew on that for a minute. Then I go to the corporate side, and I see the power of photo and video to win clients. Not only to win clients, because we just think about the marketing side. And believe it or not, the internal side is just as important, if not more important, than the marketing side. Because how do I train up my staff to offer a level of quality in 1,000 different places at once? Your answer is video. Video is your answer. How do I communicate to 1,000 different people at once? Video. How do we decorate our brochures and our learning material and our internal stuff with images from our brand? You have a photographer that works within your brand. So you're not using stock photos. So I started to realize that my little 5D Mark III at the time was carrying $1 billion company and helping them train their staff in 40 different countries and 5 different continents from what I created from a 5D Mark III. This company that's bringing in hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue, a month, relied on content that I created to train their staff to provide the things that they sold. It's very important. And I was just lucky enough to be in a position and smart enough to realize what I was providing that company. And that company was honest in telling me. So, I think a lot of people who get into this industry don't get to see the high level of what content do for businesses, as I've had the privilege of seeing in both warfare and internal communication and marketing. I realized that content is king. Nobody's getting hired and reading books for training anymore. So, William said, let me see your other question. It was, so you're in weddings and you're looking to expand. You was in the Marines, have photo frames. So if I was in weddings, my next step over, honestly, would be corporate events. It's the same thing. My next step would be if you're looking for how in the military, they'll tell you this skill directly relates to that skill. Wedding photography directly relates to corporate event photography with less stress. Absolutely. With less stress. So the bad guys are really good at using content. I agree. Content manipulates people. We're no longer in a world of lack of information. We're in a world of misinformation. So we're not going to make it where you can't find it. We're just going to put out so much wrong stuff that you'll have a problem deciding what's right. That's the new way of hiding information. Because if you don't have enough experience, and I don't want to say intelligent enough, you won't know what's real and what's fake. So while you guys are arguing over a fake story, the real story is sliding through. And I'm not saying news in general. I'm just saying that's how people fight lack of information with misinformation. So it's important that you be careful about your sources. You work with trusted sources. But as a content creator, you should be able to help companies achieve something. Now, what they achieve is on you and your niche. It's on what your company decides it wants to help, what problem they solve. And if you're not looking at it that way, you're missing the boat on getting clients. If you're not looking to solve problems, you are the problem. So as a content creator, the big checks are in solving big problems and providing cinematic solutions. So that's kind of what we teach here, right? We want you to build your brand to be a problem solver, and then we want to get you in front of people with problems. Period. That is where your check is. That is where your big bag, that is where the change in your life happens, when you get really good at solving a problem. And if you want to make 100% of your income through the lens of your camera, then you need to be good at solving problems. Not asking people, do they need video or want video or do they want a picture? Not asking people, trying to convince people into filming their event. If you have to convince your client, if you meet a person and you got to convince them that they need photo or video or social media, you are doing it wrong. You're never going to get top dollar out of somebody who don't realize they have a problem. You're never going to get somebody in the emergency room who don't realize they're bleeding out. If they don't know they hit, they're not going to seek help. You want to be in front of people who need your help. They know they need your help and they're willing to spend what it takes to fix the problem. If you are convincing people, cold calling people, begging people, popping up, if you are trying to talk people into getting video or photo, you will never cash a crazy check because people don't roll over and they're not convinced in 2 conversations that of something that they don't have a problem with. They're not convinced they need to spend $10,000 to fix something that they didn't know about yesterday. It's very hard to do. It is one of the most uphill battles you can take in this industry. Why do that? Where you have people who are hurting, that know they have a problem, that's looking for somebody qualified to solve their problem. And they're saying, I don't care what it costs. I don't care what I got to pay to fix this problem. Let's fix it. That's the client I want. Because every time they have that problem, and anybody they know who have that problem, they'll be back to me or be referred to me. That's the client I want. If you are chasing clients and you're begging people and convincing people and handing out flyers and doing all of that, you're doing it wrong. That is the 1988 approach to bringing in photography and video clients. That worked when you had a portrait studio on the corner and you was handing out flyers for student pictures or graduation pictures or family portraits. That is that old business model that your favorite YouTuber or Instagrammer who don't do this for a living, who go to work and come home, cut on the camera and talk cameras, that is what they regurgitate to sound like they're helping you get business. So be mindful of that. That is what they're not really doing it because you're not chasing down clients. Just like you're not, when people say, what's in my camera bag? If you're showing up with one bag, you're not getting that bag. If you're showing up with one bag, you're not getting that bag. Because I have multiple rolling cases. When I go see a client, if I showed up with one camera bag, they wouldn't even cut the check. I got a team. I get paid like a team. I am a business, a brand, a company, and the checks represent that. The checks are for a company of my size. If you treat it like a hobby, it will pay you like one. If you treat it like a business, you're going to start to get business bags. So it's important. What's really important is how you look at it, how you present yourself, who you go after. And these are things that need to change in your mind as you focus on growing your business. These are things that you need to, you're going to look at things differently. When you start to learn about business, you're going to look at things differently. You're going to look at everything differently. You're going to walk in Walmart and just look at things differently because there's a lot of stuff you don't know. And a lot of people's problem is they don't realize that it's a lot of things they don't know. An analogy I love to use every freaking time is you can eat apple pies your whole life. That don't mean you know how to make them. You can't bite into an apple pie and determine what temperature the oven was on to make it. You know how blown away I was when I seen somebody cooking an apple pie with vanilla extract? Like, wait, what? We're using vanilla. It's apple pie. Had no idea. So there's a lot of things about business you don't know, you don't even know. And simply by learning them, it'll help your business because you'll get it. So, and again, one of the things that people don't realize is as a content creator, you don't need to go after clients. Everybody needs you. You're just not where they're looking. Everybody needs you. Every company need what you offer. You're just not where they're looking. You're not in one of the trusted places they feel like they can pull talent from and trust them with a 40, 50, $100,000 job. And once you get in that circle and they refer you to people and they say, this is the guy we use, this is the company we use here. That's what usually happens. Just like you refer your doctor or your mechanic or somebody that you've worked with who solved the problem. Whenever somebody say, hey, we need this, we got this glass we need replacing. You know, I got a guy I work with that fixed my glass. Let me give you his number. Same thing happens with bigger clients. I've had people work for a company that got bought out. The company got bought out. They stripped it of its resources. People left the company and went to other companies and still called me and say, hey, remember when I was over at such and such, you helped us film this? We need training videos over here now. They know what my price is. They know how I work. They know what to expect. They wouldn't have called me if they had less than $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 to play with. So anybody that's teaching this idea that you chase clients don't know business. They don't know business. You need to be where clients look. And you need to solve a problem. And that's what we teach and talk about. That's what we punch you in the throat with all day over at the Academy. So if you're not a FlashFilm Academy member, consider joining, because we're going to really, we really get into it and we really help you change how you think about business, especially with a camera. There's no reason, if you are struggling and you have a camera, you're doing something wrong. If you're struggling right now and you own a camera and you're good at working that camera and you have the equipment to film interviews, to take pictures in 2024, it's because you're doing something wrong. You are starving to death inside of a grocery store because you don't know how to use a can opener. In 2024, again, everybody needs content. Everybody and their mama need content. You're not even supposed to post the same video for Instagram as you do for Twitter. Like, people want different content for different audiences. They want training videos in multiple languages. They want communication videos in multiple languages. They want brand story videos in multiple languages for multiple audiences. Like, the sky is the limit. Companies need content consistently. And there's just not enough of us who can cater to them because we can't talk their language, because they can't look at our brand and trust us. It's a lot of street mechanics trying to work on Bentleys. You a street mechanic, bro. You got a bag and a dirty shirt. You're not touching my Bentley. I'm taking my Bentley to the Bentley dealership or to a service center that look like it can work with Bentleys. Not letting you walk down the street and come and work on my car I spent all this money on. That's how clients feel about their business. We got a Fortune 500 company. We got a company that's doing, 10 million in revenue a month. I'm not bringing in a street mechanic to work on our stuff. It's not going to happen. I'm bringing in a company that specializes in solving our problem. And if you don't look like that, I'm not even going to look your way. And you need to think about that as a content creator who want to land these big jobs. What do you look like? What does your brand say? How do your brand present itself? Are you sending an email from a Gmail? I'm supposed to bring you in to film my training videos, and you're messaging me from a Gmail account? Why would I want to put the content to train my associates and my employees, my systems and processes in the hands of somebody who can't even secure their own email? Why would I do that? Make it make sense. A lot of you guys got Gmail accounts wondering why companies ain't hiring you. No matter what you send and what price you got, I don't want to talk about my internal practices to somebody who information can be leaked from. That's not smart. Business people are smart. That's how they got there. Big companies they hire smart people. That's how they get there. They're not successful for nothing. They're successful because they're smart. You're asking them to send private, internal, business information via a Gmail account, you've already disqualified yourself. You've already disqualified. So I think that a lot of people don't really realize some of the places that they disqualify themselves from working with bigger brands. And you don't have to be, look, I'm not even talking about Pepsi and Coca-Cola. I'm talking about your local heating and cooling company with 6 trucks. They have their competitive advantage, and they can't afford to lose it to somebody with a Gmail account. We ain't talking about Pepsi and Coke that got the money to go fight. We're talking about itty bitty small business in your area that, you know, want to create training videos on how they bake cakes. They can't afford to have their recipe on a Gmail account. It's a no-go. Security is huge for them. And that's just one of the areas where a lot of people who don't understand business lose clients. And you don't know why. So we got to evaluate our brand. We need to evaluate what we offer, who we offer it for. And I'm going to go back to this because customer buying process is important. Then we need to think about where we want to catch them, because we need to be catching them in stage 2, stage 3, and to be a part of stage 4. I keep this here now so we can understand it when it comes to marketing and what we want to do with our business and our brand. If you're going to your online guru who teaching you about business, who is trying to help you grow your service-based industry, and they're not talking about this, you just stop. Every company that market based off this spreadsheet, this system. Every company that's huge, why you think around June or right before 4th of July, you start getting pamphlets from Walmart with pushing charcoal and grills? Because they recognize it's hot outside. I need to barbecue. 4th of July coming out. Okay, that's stage 1. We got a problem. We've recognized that we want to barbecue this summer. Well, let me see, where can I go to find a grill? Oh, you know what? I got a flyer this week from Walmart. It had a grill on it. That's stage 2. Number 3 is who else sell grills? It don't matter because Walmart has told you we got the cheapest price on grills. You don't need to shop anywhere. Number 4 is they get you into Walmart. They have a bunch of grills in front of Walmart. You see all these grills. You go through which one you want. Number 5, and then you purchase it. Number 5 is you complete the purchase at Walmart. You know what they do? They add more stuff. Hey, you got a grill. You're going to need to flip the meat. You're going to need charcoal. You're going to need wood pellets. You're going to need whatever. You're going to need to clean the grill. They get all those accessories that are add-ons to the initial purchase. And then you go home and you write a review about it. And you talk about, it's number 6. You happy, you put your grill together, y'all cooking meat, everybody like it. People come over, ask you about your grill, you say you got it from Walmart. Those are all stages we've gone through as consumers. We just didn't realize it. So by understanding those stages, and you can build your brand to go after clients in those stages, as you should be. But you don't know what you don't know. And now you do. That's why it's important to join, because you learn a lot in the academy. Let's see. Creighton asks a good question. He says, question I might forget for tomorrow's goal meeting. How much do you want a salesperson to, how much do you want a salesperson know of the big picture sales process? I mean, you might have to rephrase that because I got it wrong. The thing is, as a sales rep, for you, because you are your company's sales rep, right? Until you can hire somebody, you and your website are the only 2 sales reps you got. If you understand the big picture, you can put things in perspective for a client. And understanding the big picture helps your client realize you know what you're talking about. That's all a client wants. There's nothing tangible in photography or videography. I'm not handing you nothing. So for somebody to spend $40, $50, $60, $20, $10, $8,000 for something they can't touch or hold, the best thing you can do is to make them feel like you know what you're talking about. You do that by explaining the big picture, by going through the whole process of what's going to happen. Once you do this, once you sign that, this is what's going to happen. And if you don't have that in place, then you look bad. You look like you don't know what you're talking about. And that's a problem. That is one of the ways I see a lot of content creators lose clients because they don't provide steps. And again, this is covered here. Whenever you're a FlashFilm Academy member, the first module will go over why that's important and how to implement that. So keep that in mind, because it's important that if you're trying to get a big client, there are things that need to be in place so those big clients feel comfortable working with your brand as compared to your competitors or somebody else. So just if you have a wedding coming up and you want to hire a wedding planner, right? Wedding planners work when they can sit down and give you a slight overview of what's going to happen on your day. You don't want them to be like, we'll see, maybe we can. No, you want to, a good wedding planner leaves pictures between the wedding and the reception, leaves space for pictures so that I can get pictures of the bridal party. A bad wedding planner don't know that. A good wedding planner will present that to the bride and groom and make them say, I never thought about that. Hey, for the best pictures, we like to put an hour between when the wedding is over and when the reception starts. Let your guests go there, open the bar. We'll stay back and take pictures for 30 minutes, and then you have 30 minutes to go over and change into your more comfortable attire. A great wedding planner presents that to a bride who's never done this before or never thought about this. She may have done it before. She can be on Wedding 6, who knows? But it'll help her understand what needs to take place and why. So, Craig, another question come in. Let me make sure I got it right. Let me take a look at. Okay, he was saying that. Let me have that pop on the screen real quick. How much big sales process should a new salesperson know? A new salesperson should know the complete story. They should know everything, A to Z. They should know everything they possibly can. I don't like talking to a client and not having answers. Even if that answer is something I need to look into, I don't want to not have a lot of answers. The biggest thing you can have as a content creator is experience, right? Your greatest asset is your ability to walk the client through the process and tell them what to expect and when to expect it. That is a value that you add that your competitor may not have. So because we're not giving them nothing tangible, they're not leaving with nothing. They need to at least leave with the understanding of what's going to take place. I like to put that in a tangible form, if possible. So A to Z. I don't like sending sales reps out who don't know, who are not comfortable with understanding the process. Definitely. The good thing about NAB was, I had the whole crew with me. It was a lot of us. I had the whole crew with me. What is this thing doing? All right. So, things are, you want to make sure that you're good at what you do, you're comfortable at what you're doing, and you're presenting it to your client. Any last questions before I roll out? We'll give people about 10 more seconds to pop another question up if anybody got any more questions. NAB is huge. Every year, if you're in this industry, you definitely want to hit NAB. Speaking of motivation, it will motivate you to go be great, because you'll realize there are so many in this industry. There's so much gear in this industry, and there are so many companies that subscribe to the industry. There's so many companies that are selling stuff, doing stuff. There's so many new technologies and new ways to do old things that you may learn about that may lower the cost on your end. So why not? Why not? Paul says he got a question. And his question is, I have a camera and a laptop with some software, Resolve, Photoshop. What's a rough startup cost before starting content solution business? Again, that answer depends on what industry you decide to go into. I don't want to give you a ballpark figure, because let me give you an example. Let me use an analogy of why this is important. If you're a chef, I don't know what knives you need, because I don't know if you're doing seafood or you're doing sushi. Are we cooking beef? What kind of chef are you? Like, you have to determine what kind of chef you are before I determine what kind of stove, what kind of pots, pans, and knives you need. I can't even determine what type of protection you need on yourself as a chef. Do you need color-coded cutting boards? Are we using fish, chicken, and meat? Do we need to divide them? Do we need to make sure we're not using them on the same boards? Do we need 3 sets of knives so we can know not to cut the chicken with the beef knife to avoid food allergies? Like, those are things that we have to determine after we determine what type of chef or cook we are. I don't want to, and these are things that you don't know. But I want to make sure we highlight that before we start saying, this the camera you need, this the lens you need. And all, because a lot of people, we get enamored with gear and we go out and we want to buy all the latest and greatest and 12K this and 8K that and this lens and that lens, focus so fast. And it has nothing to do with what we're trying to do and who our target audience is and what they value. So before we decide that, and that's something that I'm gonna punch you guys in the throat again, we talk heavily about in the first module, because you need to realize, hold on, I may have spent money on the wrong gear. That money could have went into marketing or something. That money could have went into the right gear. The discipline in starting a business is figuring out what you want to be, what client you want to work with, what service you offer, what problem do you solve. Now that we know, one, what problem that we solve, the next thing we got to realize is it a valuable problem to solve? So what? I want to shoot it. It don't matter unless people want to pay for it. We get a lot of people who want to do stuff that don't nobody want to buy. You can want to create pictures of birds and trees. Who cares? Who's buying it? If nobody's buying it, then it's a hobby. It's not a good industry to go into, right? We provide the tools and the wherewithal to determine that, because a lot of people don't. They just figure it's a great idea because the people in your circle who can't afford $10,000 a video think it's dope, and they don't make money. Tyrone Russell said he got a closet full of dusty gear. Absolutely. So are you buying it because you want it, because you like it, or are you buying it because it can make you money? There's 2 different reasons to buy gear. Your client will tell you what gear you need. Not B&H, not YouTube, not a commercial. Your clients will tell you what gear you need. And if you're not listening to your clients, if the gear that you're buying doesn't help solve a problem, you're buying the wrong gear. Sorry, not sorry. But it's important that you think about that as you grow your business. Carlos said being a subject matter expert is probably the most valuable asset for your client. Absolutely. Clients literally just said to me, we're so happy we have you on our team. This is a language we don't speak. Absolutely. Absolutely. Clients, you as a subject matter expert, clients rely on you to solve a problem. Paul also said, he said, thanks. He said, I guess the question is, can he get started with zero current cash flow? Absolutely. Absolutely, you can. You're going to have to invest from wherever you're creating money, you're going to have to invest into it. But the goal is to invest correct, right? The correct way to invest. Don't invest in just buying stuff because, well, that's 4K and that's the newest and that's the latest and he got this and his pictures look great. So what? You may be in an industry where it's not about image quality. It's about how fast you can deliver an image. Guess what? You don't need RAW. You don't need 12K. You need quick, fast, 8-bit, H.264, H.265 that looks good in camera that I can deliver in a day. Why would I tell you to go get a 8K Red for $20,000 where your client, all their videos are streaming to a cell phone vertically? That doesn't make sense for you. You're watching filmmakers who value image quality over everything because they're going to a big screen. Your content is being watched on 720p screens. Most businesses don't have 4K monitors. There's no reason. 4K doesn't make Excel sheets look better. Most companies aren't investing in monitors like that. You're thinking about the gamers and the people who want 4K and 8K monitors. It's not the general public. Now, if you're creating content for those pockets of people, yes, you need that. but a majority of your clients is running Windows, whatever, on a Dell laptop that they use for Excel sheets. The communication video will be viewed on that computer. Don't need 4K for that. So why are you buying it? So these are things you got to think about as you grow your business, and understanding who is it for, so that you can find ways to offer value to your client, because value is speed for that client. It's not image quality. That's why I tell you, stop talking about image quality and the quality and passion. Don't nobody care. Everybody got 4K in their pocket, thanks to their cell phone. And don't nobody care about your passion. You can be passionate and trash. I know people who love to rap that are trash. I know people who love to sing that are trash. I'm not going to hire them to sing because they're passionate, because they still can be trash. Don't be passionate. Be passionate about solving the problem, not about filming. I'm passionate about solving your problems, clients. I'm passionate about making sure this is no longer a problem for you. That's where my passion is. Now let's talk that. Because I can hire somebody off the street to film. I know a lot of passionate people who are good at photography and videography who aren't passionate about business. And guess what? Guess what? You're now an employee. So, you're now an employee. William said a lot of good info. We're looking at, if you think we're talking good here, wait till you see what's behind the curtain. It's a whole lot more that we don't discuss. Sometimes things are a little deep for the average person who are not looking to go into business. They just like a few tips here and there. In the academy, we put things in order. And there's a lot of people ask questions and they don't realize there's 5 questions you should have asked before that, right? Big question we get is how to get clients. There's 5 questions we should have asked before how to get clients. What type of clients? That want what? For who? That need what? What are their problem? There's so many different questions we need to ask before we get there. And often people come in thinking they're on level 20 and they realize they're on level 3 because they have to backtrack and relearn some things that, there's just questions they didn't answer. Questions they didn't know, things they didn't know. And they can look at their business and realize why they're not having success, because I'm missing so much of it. I thought it was just the part that was above water that was important. And it's 200 feet below water you need to get in order to present yourself correct. And a lot of people just don't know what they don't know. That's the number one thing I get from people who join. It's so much I didn't know. I'm out here running around, wasting all this energy when I don't have the things together, the things I need together to even approach a client of that caliber and be appealing to that client. I can't even talk their language because I'm not, again, I tell people all the time, I can get Walmart on the phone for you right now, and majority of people will fumble the bag. They will lose the client. I can have them call your phone right now and you'll answer the phone like, hello, it's a wrap. Game over. Game over. Instead of saying, thank you for calling FlashFilm Academy. This is Ty speaking. Something as little as that, something as small as that can lose you 5 to 6 figures a year. It's not that important to you. It's very important to them. You are not them. You wouldn't value it because you're not in the position that they are, who need what you have to offer. There are things that they value that is not on your radar, that you're not aware of, that you need to learn about. When you're in a room with money, you need to carry yourself as such, right? And I'm just trying to use an analogy. Like, you can't go in there doing what you did on the street. You have to carry yourself differently when you're in that environment. To carry yourself in a way that helps you in that environment, you need to be quiet, look, listen, and learn. So that when you're in those environments, you know how to maneuver, you know how to move around, you know what clothes to wear. Listen, I can tell you all the time, as a black male, it took me time to maneuver in certain rooms. right? I want to show up in the Gucci loafers, but that ain't what they wearing in this room. They wearing penny loafers with a dime in them. Okay, Gucci loafers ain't working in here. I got to wear the penny loafers, the burgundy color with the socks. Okay, I got to fit in here. It ain't about what I think. It's about me fitting in a room that's higher than where I'm at in life. To do that, I need to look at what works in that room. And the next step of you, the next level of your life is going to take a different version of you. And if you're not prepared to present that version, you're not going to make it in that step. So you need to look around and see what are people doing at this level? Okay, they doing that. They talking about this. They're wearing their hair like that. They're starting conversations like this. This is important. Laugh at these jokes. Don't laugh at those. Okay, cool. You need to learn that stuff. The same happens in business. To go from the handshake deals that you're currently using to close, $800 deals. Things work differently when you go to an $8,000 deal. Things are different when you go to an $80,000 deal. Like, you have to learn to work that room. You have to learn to not only walk in that room and maneuver in that room without looking like a fraud or somebody who don't deserve to be there. You need to win over that room so that they'll do business with you. You need to outcompete people who were born in that room. People who family been in that room forever. You need to go to that room and learn it well enough where you can outcompete those who that's their level so that you can win business. So you're behind and you need to learn what it takes to be ahead. And a lot of people don't discuss that in business, especially when you're coming from where we come from. Photography and videography don't require a degree. You don't go through, you're a dentist. Everybody that's in a room with dentists went through a certain level of schooling, a certain level of training. A lot of that training was dentistry, but some of it was how to carry yourself in the industry. Some of it was best practices in the industry. So you're around people who are at that level all the time. In photography or videography, you're not. There isn't a certain level. There isn't an official training. There isn't a degree. There's a degree, but there isn't a place where you're board certified to do this. So there aren't expectations in place as to how you need to carry yourself, present yourself, talk, and mingle within the industry. You have to learn it on your own. And if you're not around people who are doing it every day, how do you learn it? How do you learn it? Instead, you go into rooms where you fumble the bag over and over again. And if you're not smart enough to look at why am I losing and pay attention to it, you won't be able to correct those mistakes and you won't grow. So I think that as content creators who want to land bigger clients, we need to understand how that next level work. We need to work with people on that next level, and we need to find a way to go into that room and sell in that room. We need to understand what they value, what's important to them, what they look for. How do they choose your company over a different company? And I think that if you're not willing to take it to that level, you won't have success. You will always be the raggedy, store on the corner that don't do a lot of business, that's barely making it. You will never grow to be McDonald's or one of the bigger companies that you like, because you're not growing. So that's why it's important with the academy that iron sharpen iron, and we're around people. You get to go see what is a photographer or a videographer that's closing $300,000 in business. What are they doing? What do they sound like? What do they talk like? What do their website look like? What are their systems and processes? How often are they sending proposals? What are they doing to market? If you don't know these things, how can you be successful? That's why the community is so important, because you get to be around people who are sometimes in your area killing it. And you get to look at where they are as a brand and say, okay, well, they got their website together. Look at everybody got their shirts on. Like, what are they doing? And sometimes you need that as a content creator who are trying to get in business, just to look and say, okay, I see the gap between me and them. I got a lot to work on. But if you don't have that to look at, you think you should be at level 20, but you're really a level 2. And you need to close that gap. And the best way of closing that gap is to be around people who are at every level, even beyond that. I mean, there's levels that you may not know about, that you'll learn about because you're around other creatives who are there. And they can tell you that everybody's here to help everybody. So they can tell you, hey, you need to do X, Y, and Z. Or, hey, if you're, we had a conversation on the last meeting about people who are looking to work with home builders, right? We have 5 or 6 content creators come forth and say, hey, that's all we've worked with. This is where you need to go to get them, not here. Don't show up to the sites. Don't show up to the construction sites. They're not there. They're here. Instantly, that creative who want to go into that niche, the membership just paid for itself off that one tip. This is where you need to go to get your clients. They're not going to be on site. They're going to be here. Focus on these people because they're the ones who decide who they hire. So, it's very important that if you are serious about this and you're serious about growing your business, that you're in a community of people who feel the same way. You're consistently consuming knowledge and content to help you get there because it is more than doable. It is more, especially in today. It's not like it was 10 years ago. 20 years ago, cameras were used for commercials and TV. Like, it's just not like that anymore. Companies need content every freaking day. Every day they need content. Go follow whoever you want to follow that you buy from. And go on their Instagram and see how many posts they got. They want more. Go to their Facebook page and see how many posts they got. Go to their YouTube channel and see how many posts they got. So, you need to, somebody needs to do that stuff. The reason it's not you is really on you. It's very simple. When you look at it and you break it down, business is simple. It's a sport. It's a sport. It's as simple as football or basketball. You run plays to put you in position to score. Period. You got competitors, you got to have good defense. Business is a sport. You can watch all the basketball you want. If you've never played and you get on that court, you're going to look like it. You have to practice. So I want to, basketball looks hard to people who never played, but you start off dribbling, you start off doing chest pad, you start with the fundamentals until you grow into this dynamic basketball player. You have to start somewhere. And we help you get those fundamentals on how to dribble, how to pass, understanding the rules so that you can build off that and grow your business. So I'm not gonna keep you guys too long. I think I've said enough. NAB was huge. Big shout out to all my members that showed up in Vegas. We had a blast. We hung out 4 days in a row. I'm still recovering from it. I still need to get some sleep. We had a good time. If you have questions, post them in the comments below or come on over to FlashFilm Academy. Download the app. Do what you got to do. Definitely make sure you download the app and come on join the family. And, we go from there. There's things that we can't talk about on social media that we like to talk about over there because, social media they have their own standards and guidelines. They have things that, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, they have things that they want you to say and things you can't say. I'll give you an example. We had a lot of content on how to survive during the pandemic and things you should be presenting to your client so that they can still continue to get business. And a lot of social media platforms didn't like the use of that context a lot. And if you talked a lot about it, you were flagged as a company or a channel who may have been pushing propaganda. Like, because it's an algorithm, all they know is, bruh, you got an hour-long video. You said this word 18 times. Something may be up. But we were trying to help content creators reach out to their clients to make sure that they're shooting videos with masks on and they're showing videos of how clean they're making their location so that even during that situation, we're still open, we're still available, we still want to service your needs. So those are things that we can't really talk much about on platforms just because of the rules of the platforms, and we don't want to endanger any of my accounts trying to touch on those things. So that's why I have a platform where I can talk freely and give you the unedited, raw truth to not only business, but just some of the BS that's out from other places who want you to think that growing your business is as easy as developing a portfolio, or thinking that because you have the latest and greatest in gear, companies will hire you and people will hire you. And it's just not true. Your client don't know anything about camera gear, just like you don't know who make the freaking milkshake machine at McDonald's. You don't know. You don't know what kind of freezers Chipotle use to, they say it's never frozen, but you don't know what type of refrigerators they use to keep it 2 degrees above freezing so that they can market the fact that it's fresh, never frozen. So though you don't care. You don't care who makes the tables at your favorite restaurant. Your client don't care about your camera gear like you think. And if you're still selling camera kits, you're doing it wrong. The only people who care about camera kits are agencies, right? That hire you to match footage with what they got, or people that's looking to make a movie. There is a place where people care about camera kits. It's not your local plumber. He don't care. So trying to get him to spend more money for a different camera kit won't do you any good. But there's ways that you can package it to offer better quality by putting it in a way where it's value that he care about. It's valuable for him. There's ways to present it differently so that it's valuable to him, and not saying we can shoot it with Sonys or we can shoot it with Reds. Who cares? Who cares? He don't know. If you're making him research it, you're not offering a turnkey solution for your client. If you're making him research your camera kit, it sucks. Few other questions came in. Okay, when going to an event to network, when is it best to not use your camera and socialize more versus being eager to do content in situations where so this is the thing. I never go to a networking event ready to capture content. Why would they hire you? Big companies that want to hire video production companies want to hire people who solve problems. They want to hire businesses and not camera guys. You're presenting yourself as a camera guy. FlashFilm Media, we don't present ourselves as camera guys. We present ourselves as a brand that solves this specific type of problem. When we want to manage the project, we don't want to film it. And I think that separating yourself from being the camera guy is the first thing you have to do in business. I want to be respected as a business owner, not as a camera guy. Me personally, business owners make more money than camera guys. Directors make more money than camera guys. And an analogy I've used plenty of times is name some camera guys on the last Steven Spielberg movie. You don't know and you don't care. And I can triple guarantee his check or one of their checks that had nothing on Steven Spielberg's check. You want to manage the project, not film it. That's something that you don't know. We're not filmmakers, photographers, and videographers. We're companies that solve problems. We're here to help you solve your problems. That's all we do. We'll manage the project. Because if a client hire a cameraman and you say, well, y'all need 2 videos to do this, I don't trust the cameraman, bruh. Hey, make sure the focus is good, the exposure is great, the composition is good, and hit the record button. Don't say nothing else to me. We hired you to be a camera guy, so be that. When you're brought on as a project manager, the scope is different. What you control is different. What you charge is different. What your brand represents is different. You're now a partner in solving this problem. It's a huge difference just in those two, just in that little change of title that you need to be aware of as a content creator. The way you present yourself is how you get paid. If I present myself as a starving artist with a camera, I got this 4K camera and I can't wait to film your stuff. I got this camera I can't wait to use. You will be respected as a starving artist. You will be paid as a starving artist. You will be treated as a starving artist. If I present myself as a brand, I will be respected, treated, and paid as such. If you look like one guy is going to show up with a camera, you're going to get paid like one guy that's going to show up with a camera. If you look like a team that have people in the background working to create and make things happen that will show up like a team, you will get paid like a team. Present yourself like a hot dog stand, and I'm going to pay you for a hot dog. Present yourself as a gourmet restaurant, and I will pay you as a gourmet restaurant. A lot of you guys are hot dog stands. You selling corner waters out of a cooler, and you want to be treated as though you're a bartender selling high-end, drinks and cigars, and you're not. You're the kid that's tapping on my window trying to sell me candy bars on the corner for his football team. And I feel sorry for you, and I give you money, and I don't even take your $2 candy bar that you just bought from 7-Eleven. A lot of you are presenting your brand that way because everybody on your level operates that way. And you're wondering why people above your level is not interested in what you offer. They don't want to buy water from a guy on the corner with a cooler. They want the Everfresh truck to show up and deliver the 5-gallon filtered water. So often we don't look at what we offer. That we don't look at it through the right eyes. We look at it from our level, and unfortunately, our level is not high enough. I'm telling you from experience. I'm not telling you to rain on your parade. I'm telling you, it's things you don't know. You don't know. You're presenting yourself like a $2 company, mad because you're not getting $5 a shoot, when you've never taken the time to go around people who wouldn't spend less than $5 for a shoot and find out what's valuable to them. Everybody don't think like you. Everybody don't operate like you. Everybody don't live in the world you live in. Your client, if they had your bank account, they would be stressed out. They would be in a straitjacket somewhere if they checked their bank account and it said what your bank account said. So we got to understand what's valuable to that client and give them what they want. And if you're not thinking about your brand in that way, you're going to be where you're at. Servicing $2 clients, begging them to spend $3, hoping that they'll spend $3 with you. So we teach a lot of that because we think that just because we got a $3,000 camera and we spent all this money on gear, we should demand a price. And that's the most ignorant thing I've heard content creators push out. They count up what they spent money on, and then they want to pass the cost on to their client. Well, that's funny because McDonald's spent $10-15 million on location and they're still selling $2 burgers. Well, how can they do that and survive? Netflix is spending more than Hollywood, everybody in Hollywood combined, to film movies, and they're still selling you a monthly rate that's average or about the same price as one ticket at the movie theater. Like, how are they doing it? So it's not about that's just some advice that I get that just irks me. Like, why are you telling people to count up the price of your gear and pass that along to your clients? It don't work that way. You need better clients. You need a better brand, a better business, and you need to solve bigger problems. So anyway, with that being said, we're going to do this every Tuesday at 1. All my gold members, I will see you tomorrow on our accountability meeting. If you're not a gold member, please consider being one at FlashFilmAcademy.com. Tomorrow, we're going to talk. We got a lot to go over. This is the first gold member meeting since we all met at NAB. So it's going to be interesting. I will say that. It's going to be raw, but it's going to be interesting. With that being said, I will see y'all in the next video.
You've been listening to Content and Cash, a FlashFilm Academy podcast. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and go to our webpage at www.flashfilmacademy.com.